Kamala Harris says she might run for president again in 2028.
So are you going to run again in 28?
So, here, okay,
I tried to be subtle, but I just figured I'd go right
well,
at it.
that's as subtle as Reverend Al Sharpton could ever be. We love you for many things, but not being subtle. Listen, I might. I'm thinking about it.
All right, Joel Pollak joins us now. Kamala Harris lost every swing state in 2024. Why does she think she has a chance in 2028?
Well, Kamala Harris has long theorized that the reason she lost in 2024 was that she barely had 100 days to make her case to the electorate. And had she been given the opportunity from the beginning, perhaps she might have done a better job. That is something only Kamala Harris believes, and I don't think Democrats are inclined to buy into the idea of a new Kamala Harris candidacy simply because people don't like to lose twice. Not since the 1950s with Adlai Stevenson have Democrats bet twice on the same losing candidate, and I don't think it's going to happen again.
All right, next one, Joel. A new report says the Skid Row homeless zone in Los Angeles is a clear sign that homeless policies are not working. It says LA has a housing-first approach, but Skid Row is still full of tents, crime, people struggling with addiction. Joel, what can Los Angeles do with this? Is the housing-first policy, what's wrong with that?
Well, Housing First treats the problem of homelessness as if it's a problem of economic distribution. And so from a socialist mindset, all you really have to do is redistribute resources, and then homeless people will have homes. And so it has proven to be a very expensive way to house people by paying for hotel and motel rooms, or in fact buying hotels and motels and buildings. And only a small percentage of the homeless people who are moved into those buildings actually find permanent housing and move on with their lives. The underlying problem for so many homeless people is addiction or mental illness. And unless you address those problems, especially addiction, you're not going to help homeless people move toward the healthy habits of work and basic personal hygiene that are necessary to maintain a permanent residence somewhere. You're starting to see a shift in San Francisco, where the new mayor, Daniel Lurie, has started to address some of the problems of addiction. He has, for example, cut off the city's former policy of handing out alcohol to alcoholic homeless people. Yes, San Francisco actually did that for a while at a cost of millions of dollars per year. He has cut off the bar tab, so to speak, and the San Francisco approach has now shifted toward treating addiction. This is actually working, whereas spending billions of dollars the way Los Angeles has and the way the state of California has done on a housing-first policy simply doesn't work, and it wastes money.
Is there any improvement in the homeless situation in Los Angeles? I mean, does anybody count them on a regular basis and saying the number is up or down? Any improvement at all?
There is an improvement. There's an annual homeless count that's done, but it is considered to be wildly inaccurate. And also, it's hard sometimes to detect what is actually causing a reduction in homelessness. For example, the fact that you now have ICE agents and border enforcement on the streets of Los Angeles and other cities in California could be contributing to the reduction in the number of homeless people. Some people who are homeless are in fact illegal migrants who have found no other place to live, and so they set up on the streets in Skid Row and other neighborhoods. And now that more people are being deported or are self-deporting, you might be seeing a drop for that reason. It's not that the homeless population doesn't respond to a policy like Housing First. There are some people who will benefit from simply being put up somewhere. But it's the massive cost and the waste and the corruption that has ensued when you throw billions of dollars at a policy that doesn't help more than a few people.
Yeah, a lot of money. Thanks, Joel Pollak. Good stuff. Thank you very much.